Sarah Martinez pressed her face against the porthole, watching Earth's wounded surface rotate below. Somewhere in those underground warrens, Jessica was learning about weather from textbooks written by people who remembered real sky. 3 months of night shift security work, and Sarah was finally ready to steal her daughter a future. The badge scanner hiccuped, the same 1.3-second glitch she'd been exploiting to build the most comprehensive heist in human history. Shift log. Day 127 since Earth's surrender. She spoke into her recorder, voice flat with practiced boredom. All Hegemony personnel departed Sector 7 at 11:47 p.m. Routine patrol commencing. Note: motion sensor in Bay 12 still experiencing that charming 3-second delay. 4th, maintenance ticket filed. They'll get right on that, I'm sure. The Hegemony sovereign hummed around her like a data center designed by morticians, all sterile efficiency and the ozone smell of alien electronics. 23 years of corporate security had taught Sarah that every workplace smelled like the anxieties of its inhabitants. This place reeked of algorithmic certainty. Her comm crackled with Commander Zethak's voice, carrying the particular brand of middle management irritation that transcended species. Human Martinez. Patrol timing shows variance from standard protocols. Explain deviation. Coffee break ran long, Commander. You know how us primitives are with stimulants. Efficiency is unity. Human Martinez. Unity is strength. Sarah finished. Yeah, I've seen the posters. Very inspiring. She clicked off and touched the photo tucked behind her monitor. Jessica, at 16, standing in the underground gardens of Detroit Reconstruction Zone 7, trying to smile despite recycled air that tasted like metal shavings. 17 ships, she whispered to the photo. 17 chances to get you killed if I screw this up. But the alternative, watching her daughter suffocate slowly in recycled air that tasted like despair, wasn't really an alternative at all. She began her 2 a.m. patrol, muscle memory guiding her through corridors she could navigate blindfolded. 17 decks of alien engineering, each one a puzzle she'd been solving piece by piece. The Hegemony's idea of security was like giving house keys to burglars and calling it workforce optimization. Junction Box 7 Alpha in Maintenance Corridor C carried synchronization protocols for all 3 navigation nodes. Badge readers throughout the ship defaulted to backup authorization after 3 failed scans, a security feature that had become Sarah's skeleton key. The stellar drift compensation algorithm recalculated every 14 minutes. Plenty of time to inject false coordinates if you knew when to look. 23 years of watching mall cops trip over their own radios had prepared her for alien incompetence, but the Hegemony's faith in human submission still amazed her. They'd catalogued every human skill and assigned optimal roles without considering that intelligence and obedience weren't the same thing. Sarah reached her security office and opened her real patrol log. The one command would never see. Real entry: 2:36 a.m. Badge scanner glitch confirmed in sectors 7, 12, and 15. Backup authorization window extends to 4.7 seconds. Elena reports engine room access protocols mapped. Marcus confirms day shift supervisor hasn't read an incident report since October. Network operational. Initiating Phase 2. Her comm whispered with Elena Rodriguez's voice, clipped and precise. Sarah, seeing new duty rosters. They're cycling alien staff every 72 hours now. Adaptation pattern, Sarah replied. Marcus, status? Admin wing locked down tight. Marcus Chen's voice carried the satisfaction of a man who'd found true calling in bureaucratic warfare. Been filing reports about minor navigation anomalies for weeks, filed under routine maintenance. My favorite kind of lie. Old Pete Peterson's gravelly voice joined the channel. These quantum drives are like fine watches, darlings. Delicate as all hell. One loose coupling and boom, whole navigation matrix needs manual recalibration. Sarah stared at Earth on her tactical display, blue and scarred and struggling. Security is about access control, she said quietly. Who gets in, when, and what they see once they're there. The Hegemony gave us night shift access to everything that matters. Biggest mistake of their algorithmic lives. At 4 a.m., Sarah began what her logs would record as routine system diagnostics. Her badge opened every restricted door, her codes accessed every classified terminal, her authority extended to every corner the aliens considered secure. The beauty of night shift work. Management assumed nothing important happened after midnight. She started with the primary monitoring station in Security Sector 3, initiating standard diagnostic mode with a command sequence that triggered twice weekly. The backup sensors in engineering developed a calibration error requiring morning inspection. Communication relays between ships experienced minor lag spikes well within acceptable parameters, completely invisible to alien oversight. Elena here. Military precision carried through the static. Engine deck sealed. Quantum drives cycling through diagnostic standby. These things purr like cats when you know which buttons to push. Marcus? Checking in. 17 incident reports filed for critical navigation errors requiring immediate attention. Backdated to last Tuesday. Beautiful paperwork if I say so myself. Pete here. About to perform some creative troubleshooting on the primary navigation coupling. Should take 30 minutes to fix it properly. Or break it just right. Sarah's fingers moved across interfaces with 2 decades of muscle memory. The Hegemony's technology was more sophisticated than human systems, but authorization hierarchies were universal. Every security system she'd encountered had the same vulnerabilities, just wrapped in prettier interfaces. Authorization codes accepted. Navigation control transferred to Security Station Alpha. Beginning course corrections for stellar drift compensation. One by one, 17 ships began subtle heading changes, not enough for immediate alarms. Stellar drift correction was routine, happening dozens of times daily, but sufficient to aim every vessel directly at sole defense grid coordinates. Sarah pulled up Jessica's latest message. Mom, the recycled air down here tastes like pennies. They say when the quantum facilities come online, we might get real atmosphere processors. Think that's true? Every ship she stole brought that future closer. Security Chief Martinez. Zethak's voice cut through her concentration. Navigation displays show unusual drift patterns across multiple vessels. Explain these variances. Investigating now, Commander. Stellar gravitational anomalies causing micro-corrections. Auto-nav systems compensating according to standard protocols. Acceptable. Continue monitoring. Sarah muted the comm and smiled grimly. Stellar drift compensation. Perfect cover, because Elena's calibration errors were creating genuine navigation problems requiring genuine solutions. They just happened to point every ship toward home. At 4:40 a.m., Sarah allowed herself 30 seconds of hope. 17 ships turning toward Earth. Navigation locked. Quantum drives ready to rebuild civilization. Then her proximity alarm chimed, and she saw Zethak's reflection in her monitor. He'd been watching her work. Problem. Elena's voice went flat. Old MP training surfacing. Surprise inspection team in Engine Deck 7. They're asking about power fluctuations during diagnostic cycles. Sarah's mental map automatically flagged choke points, escape routes, surveillance gaps. Marcus. Need incident reports showing routine maintenance in all engine sections. Backdate them yesterday. File in morning queue. Already on it. How much time you need? Pete. Status on navigation lockout? Give me 12 minutes and these birds'll fly home whether the aliens like it or not. You've got 8. Elena. Triggering fire suppression in Corridor 12. That'll pull inspection teams for mandatory evacuation protocol. Sarah's fingers flew across emergency system controls. The Hegemony's obsession with procedure was about to bite them. Fire suppression triggered mandatory evacuation of adjacent sectors, standard protocol that would redistribute personnel exactly where she needed them. Elena, you've got cover. Move now. Moving. Pete, seeing fluctuations in quantum coupling 7, something's funky. That's the idea, sweetheart. Sometimes you gotta break things gentle-like to fix them permanent. At 4:53 a.m., everything went sideways. Human Martinez. Zethak's voice carried laser precision. Report to command deck immediately. Bring security logs for past 72 hours. Sarah's blood chilled, but her training kicked in. Security logs meant investigation. Investigation meant scrutiny. But Pete needed 4 more minutes to lock navigation protocols, and 17 ships were already turning toward Earth. On my way, Commander. Should I bring backup security personnel? Negative. Solo report required. Solo meant they suspected her specifically. But it also meant they hadn't identified the full network. She could buy time, maybe enough for Pete to finish. The command deck elevator felt like a coffin during the 30-second ride. Sarah used every second to compose her face into professional competence. The expression that had carried her through 2 decades of hostile supervisors and workplace politics. Zethak stood studying a tactical display showing 17 ships in perfect formation. Too perfect. The kind of precision that only happened when someone manually controlled navigation systems. His 4 hands moved in the ritual sequence all hegemony officers used when filing reports. Left primary, right secondary, left secondary, right primary. Even faced with potential sabotage, he couldn't break protocol. Sarah almost felt sorry for a species that had bureaucratized their own instincts. Human Martinez. Your patrol logs indicate irregular system access patterns. Multiple diagnostic routines initiated outside standard protocols. Explain. Sarah stepped forward, badge clipped like armor. Routine maintenance. Commander, I've been tracking system anomalies for weeks. Power fluctuations, sensor delays, communication lag. Standard troubleshooting requires diagnostic access to identify root causes. Show me. Sarah pulled up Marcus's fabricated maintenance reports, power distribution analyses, sensor calibration logs, communication diagnostics. A paper trail of bureaucratic justification for every system access she'd made. Zethak studied the reports with the attention that made Sarah's skin crawl. 8 feet of copper-skinned bureaucrat, compound eyes processing information faster than humans could lie. But middle management was universal. These reports indicate systemic failures across the entire fleet, he said finally. Exactly why I initiated fleet-wide diagnostics. Preventive maintenance beats catastrophic failure every time. Your species has a saying, Zethak said quietly. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. When did you start planning this, Human Martinez? Sarah's hand froze over her console. He knew. The only question was how much. About 30 seconds after you gave us security clearance to your entire fleet, Commander. Her earpiece whispered, Pete here. Navigation lockout complete. These ships are flying home whether anyone likes it or not. Truth hit Zethak like physical impact. Sarah watched comprehension dawn in his posture, breathing patterns, the way his 4 arms moved. You planned this. All of it. We're security professionals, Commander. We identify threats to operational integrity and neutralize them. Turns out, you were our biggest security risk. Sarah's comm crackled. Elena here. Engine rooms secured. Quantum drives locked in navigation mode. Manual override disabled. Marcus checking in. All documentation filed and logged. Everything looks routine on paper, because it is routine, just not the routine you expected. Pete here. Course corrections locked and loaded. These ships are pointed straight at Sol defense grid, and there ain't enough fuel to turn around even if you wanted to. Sarah reached for her terminal and entered final authorization codes. Throughout the fleet, blast doors sealed alien crew members into quarters, while life support continued at optimal levels. Emergency protocols activated, routing all command functions through human security stations. 17 vessels. Commander, Sarah said, watching tactical displays show every ship turning toward Earth, each carrying quantum jump drives that'll help rebuild my daughter's world. The beautiful part? Your own logs show this was routine maintenance and navigation corrections. No sabotage, no violence, just humans being exceptionally good at their jobs. Zethak lunged for emergency communications, but Sarah anticipated the move. 20 years of hostile workplace encounters had taught her to read desperate behavior. She yanked the primary control module, and interfaces went dark. Command belongs to the night shift now, Commander. Question is, what do we do with you? In the end, they made the same deal Frank Kowalski had negotiated months earlier. 48 hours later, The Hegemony Sovereign and 16 sister ships dropped from hyperspace at Sol System's edge, distress beacons broadcasting on all frequencies, damaged vessels carrying intelligence about prison camps and, more importantly, technology to accelerate Earth's recovery. Sarah stood in what had been the security office but now served as command center, watching Earth grow on the main screen. Blue and white and beautiful, scarred but healing. Jessica was down there, probably in underground classrooms learning about weather, from textbooks written by people who remembered real sky. Unidentified vessels. This is Sol Defense Command. State your intentions. Sarah keyed response. Sol Defense. This is Security Chief Martinez aboard liberated vessel Sovereign Dawn. 17 ships coming home, carrying quantum drive technology and 400 human personnel. Request permission to dock. Pause stretched like eternity. Then, permission granted, Chief. Welcome home. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling 4 months of weightlift. Around her, the ship hummed with familiar voices, humans talking to humans, planning and hoping again. Behind her, Zethak sat in restraints that locked automatically with sudden movement, another upgrade humans had installed during months of maintenance. His compound eyes reflected Earth's growing light. You realize this means war, he said. Already had war, Commander, Sarah replied. You just didn't know you were losing it. 6 months later, Sarah Martinez stood in actual sunlight, watching Jessica breathe real air through real windows. Her badge read, Chief of Security, Quantum Drive Facility 7, built with technology from the night she'd stolen the future. Jessica's latest letter mentioned that the air tasted like possibilities now. Sarah's radio crackled. Chief Martinez, irregular readings on overnight monitoring. Night shift wants your opinion. Sarah smiled, remembering another night shift, another security console, another chance to fix what was broken. On my way. And patch me through to overnight supervisor. I want to review their security protocols personally. After all, the best security work happened when management wasn't watching. The thing about good security work was that it stayed invisible when done properly. Nobody noticed the night shift until something important went missing. By then, it was already home.